Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into what's probably one of the most recognized, reproduced, and honestly intensely analyzed images in all of human history, Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam. But look, we're not just going to sit here and critique brushstrokes today. No, we're going to explore the incredibly profound theology that's just hiding right there in plain sight within this masterpiece. We're going to decode the anatomy, the specific positioning of the figures, and really get into the ultimate message about humanity's relationship with the divine.
You already know the image, right? It's that iconic, tiny gap between those two hands reaching out for one another. But really, what do the most famous fingertips in art history actually mean? Well, I promise you, by the end of our time together today, we're going to peel back the layers of this painting. We'll move way past just the literal art itself to uncover this brilliantly structured, deeply theological story. Okay, so let's set the scene a bit and talk about the canvas itself and, of course, the creator. You know, it's easy to forget that the creation of Adam isn't actually a standalone painting. It's really just one panel painted way up high on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Rome. It fits into this much larger, totally sweeping piece of art that depicts stories straight out of the book of Genesis. The whole ceiling is designed to showcase these massive, overarching ideas about God, specifically God creating, God punishing, and God saving his people. So this specific panel, it's designed to give us this really profound understanding of God as the creator, and crucially, the intended relationship between God and us humans. Now, let's shift our focus and take a closer look at the anatomy of the divine. Seriously, look at how God is painted here. Every single detail is a totally deliberate theological statement. First off, God is shown as incredibly physically strong. And that's not just some random artistic choice. It directly reflects the belief that God is completely omnipotent, possessing literally unlimited power. But at the same time, he's depicted as an older man. This is a visual way to show that he is eternal, meaning he existed way before all of creation. Oh, and look really closely right under his left arm. He isn't just surrounded by angels. Art historians and theologians actually believe the woman he's protecting there is either a yet-to-be-created Eve or the Virgin Mary. And the child, the one whose shoulder his fingers are resting on, that represents the future Christ. It's wild. Michelangelo is hinting at the entire salvation story before Adam is even fully formed. Now this is where it gets really fascinating. Look at the shape of that heaven surrounding God. Analysts have noticed this incredibly cool dual interpretation of that red, billowing backdrop holding the creator and all those angels. One really popular theory is that it's shaped exactly like a human womb, which visually communicates that God is the ultimate origin from where all physical life comes. But there's another totally compelling interpretation. A lot of people say it looks exactly like a cross-section of a human brain. A brain, which shows that God is the origin from where human consciousness and intellect come. Whether it's the spark of physical life or the spark of the mind, Michelangelo is visually stating that, hey, the whole shebang originates right here, with the creator. So from the creator, let's bring it down to the earthly side of things and talk about being created in God's image. To really get Adam's depiction, we have to understand a pretty foundational Latin term, imago Dei. A lot of folks believe this entire piece of art is completely dedicated to illustrating this exact concept. Imago Dei is the theological belief that human beings were created in the mirror image and likeness of God. Keep that exact phrase in your head, mirror image, as we start looking at the specific details of Adam. Okay, so how exactly is Imago Dei visualized on the ceiling? Well, first, Adam is presented as a remarkably strong creation himself. His body and physique are incredibly similar to God's. I mean, they're literally painted as a mirror image of one another. Second, just look at Adam's face. His eyes are purposefully, squarely set right on God, which demonstrates that he knows exactly who made him. And finally, Adam is presented completely naked. Now, in the context of the Genesis story, this is super symbolic. It shows the absolute, unashamed innocence of humans at the exact moment they were created, right before any disobedience or wrongdoing had entered the picture. That brings us to the emotional core of the painting, the hands of humanity. There's this absolutely stunning contrast here that reveals so much about human nature. Take a look at God's posture. He's reaching out so dynamically. He's stretched forward, actively keen, and honestly desperate to have a relationship with humans. Now, contrast that with Adam's posture. Humans are shown at a distance from God, so much so that their fingers don't actually even touch. And check out Adam's body language. He's slouching. His hand is relaxed, kind of limp. It looks like he isn't really even trying to close that gap.
This is a massive theological commentary by Michelangelo. He's basically suggesting that while God puts in the ultimate effort to connect, well, humans don't always respond to God as fully or as eagerly as they could. Let's move on and see how this all builds, shifting from that visual gap into the fall and ultimately the resolution. Because, as we know, the innocence of that first moment, it didn't last. The source text explains that Adam, the very first human, misused his free will and disobeyed God. And that act completely broke the perfect connection we were just looking at. But here's the thing, the story shown across the Sistine Chapel doesn't end with punishment. It ends with saving. And that brings us to a really pivotal theological concept, Jesus as the new Adam. You see, God created both Adam and Jesus. But where Adam failed, Jesus, the new Adam, was sent to repair the exact relationship with God that the first Adam severed. Jesus basically came to do everything right that Adam did wrong. And this right here brilliantly illustrates the ultimate resolution. It's like a perfect theological mirror, showing us how every single mistake made by the first man is systematically countered and redeemed by the new Adam. Think about it. Adam brought death into the world. Jesus opened up eternal life through death. Adam went against God's commands. Jesus lived perfectly by them. Adam sinned by eating the fruit from the tree. Jesus died for everyone's sin upon the cross, which, by the way, is often symbolically referred to as a tree. Adam turned away through disobedience, but Jesus fully accepted the role given to him by the Father. And finally, because of his actions, Adam was physically removed from the Garden of Eden. In total contrast, Jesus' actions allowed everyone to enter paradise with salvation. It's just a complete, incredibly structured reversal of the fall of humanity.
We're going to wrap up our explainer today with this really powerful summary quote from our source material. It says, Jesus came to show everyone what they can do and how to repair the relationship with God that Adam broke. When we look back at Michelangelo's masterpiece, we see that tiny, famous gap between God's dynamic, reaching finger and Adam's totally passive, slouching hand. It's a gap created by free will and hesitation. But the entire narrative of the ceiling, from the creation to the new Adam, is really all about bridging that exact gap. It leaves us with a fascinating question to consider about our own lives and our own free will. When the Creator reaches out, with all the energy of the universe behind him, are we actively reaching back, or are we just letting our hands hang heavy? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Keep learning, keep looking closer, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.